Hey everybody, this is your girl Lady Butler, and I've decided to go ahead and document my 2020 vision, 2020 vision that God has given me, that He has placed me on. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I'm just gonna be very real, very transparent. I'm documenting every day because at this point I have no other choice but to trust and believe God. And I've been putting this off for a very long time. I didn't understand because a lot of times in life you'll feel like, woe is me, why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? I'm such a good person, I love people, but why does it feel like I'm always getting the hits? Just to make a long story short, how did I get to this place where I'm at today? I can go on and on about the past, what has happened, the things that have been done. That's a whole nother book. But this book is based off on just prayer and fasting. I'm going to put it to the test. I never have committed myself to it, but because I know that I need a blessing from God, a direct miracle, and I know it's going to be nobody but God that pushes this through, it's because it's been done before and it failed. So now I'm going to try the biblical aspect of things, and I'm just gonna go for it. What else do I have to lose? Some weight, which I need to lose anyway. And when this is gonna take place, I gotta get ready. So it works. It's gonna work out for the good. But in the process, I'm to be very transparent. I have to do a full cleansing because what I've been doing in my life lately is fun. I'm not gonna lie. I just said I'm just going to stick with me, my kids, my husband, and God just told me I had to step away from the world and step away from some family and friends, not being that they did anything wrong. It's just that He needs to do something for me right now. And that's going to require my full attention, even more so than how I used to be. But it's so interesting that all the books and all of the notes that I took years ago, when He had placed it in my heart to do My Sister's Keeper, Place of Refuge. When I went into the store today to go get a Bible, because I'm tired of looking on the app, it's just not the same. And it doesn't require the same commitment as going to your physical Bible, opening it up and reading the pages. I call the new modern day age the lazy way. It's convenient, but it just does not feel the same like when you're opening it up and you're looking at the scripture and you're writing it down, or you're writing your book. So God told me this time to start writing my book. I've tried once again. I've tried many times and I failed because I never was successful at completing things. But now looking at things, that was part of my story. That wasn't the story that He wanted me to tell. So now that I'm starting this 20 days of fasting, today is November 6th. And what I need God to do for me is absolutely on November 26th. And I laugh because Thanksgiving Day is a few days right after the date that I'm asking God for this miracle. So I'm expecting it, and I get up this morning and I was very depressed because, I'm working at Publix right now and I'm part-time. And I fought so hard to get into a position where I felt that I was doing well. And then on yesterday, I had a young lady that just came across at me just very wrong. And I was doing something that I was supposed to be doing, which is working. And I feel in my heart because I was doing what I was supposed to do, and it made her look bad because it made her look like she wasn't doing anything, which she was not. She had to find a way to throw the attention off of herself and put it on me. So in the midst of me doing my job and doing it well, I end up getting in trouble, and the assistant manager automatically thought, you're real wrong because you're new. And in my mind, I've always been a fighter and in defense for myself. So naturally, I'm going to take up for myself. I'm like, listen, it's a way that people have to talk to people and respect people. And it's a way to treat people. And I've always been that type of person, treat people right. And whatever treatment you're going to get me, that's the treatment you're going to get back. But apparently she stood there and I watched her smirk because she felt like because she was older than me and she was in management at another company, that made it right. But nevertheless, I knew, even though I sat there and I defended my stance that, hey, this is what I did today. This is what I'm doing. And I still got the hit, even though I was in the right. That's when I really woke up and I saw my hours every week. It's just been decreasing. And I'm like, the more I perform, the better that I'm getting, the more that it seems like I'm going forward. I'm getting pushed back. What is this? And I just begin to cry. And I see my husband. He know what we've been praying for. As a wife, I try to encourage him, because if I could only describe the things that he's been through, and then to be the wife to stand behind somebody while they're getting hit, and it's nothing more that he can do in his own strength, that at this point, all that we can do is look to God. And because in the past, we were always walking on separate paths trying to make this work, we never really sat down and looked at each other for who we are. I love you no matter what. You love me no matter what. And let's do this together as a team. We were doing it, but we weren't as one. And so to know that the blessing that we have ahead of us, there was no way that we could step into that blessing without being on the mind frame that we are now. Because I truly believe that I have my husband's heart and he have mine. As many times as I wanted to walk away, and I'm sure he wanted to walk away from me, we stuck it out. And to know, I'm sorry, I got my little thing rigged up, y'all. And to know that what we're getting ready to embark on is just going to be a beautiful thing. So that's why God has me documenting my story, documenting my testimony of the before and the after, so y'all can get to see. I got my lion in the back, because I'm always on the prey. And that's just a reminder, because naturally I'm born August 3rd. I know what that means, even though my sign is Jesus Christ. But, you know, we go by Leos. I always felt like a lioness, a lion, even with this little dreadlock. I never had my hair in dreads or long. So with this hairstyle, it's just, I feel so at home, like natural and nature. I didn't want to put on no makeup. Normally when I do my videos, I get all glammed. I'll say, forget it. Y'all gonna get the raw, the real. Even with my black lips, I'm just be straight up. By the time y'all see this video, you know, I don't even think I'll probably be there that long. So I'm not worried about it, because I know God got me covered. And because of my transparency is why he's going to bless me, and somebody else is going to be blessed. Even for my smoking of marijuana, it got to the point, y'all, where it was just, I wanted to just relax and be me. I had got away from everything that was church, anything that was Christ-like. I didn't care about all the videos that I made in the past where I was preaching the gospel and telling people, hold on. And then it was almost an embarrassment that you yourself, the same words that you preach, the same people you help, and the things that you were saying, you fail yourself. Yeah, you may not have fallen in areas where have been maybe committing adultery, or, you know, fully stepping out on your husband and cheating. Yeah, granted, but you still failed in ways of not trusting God, of going to sinful habits, going to, I'm not an alcoholic, but I started drinking wine every night. It became addictive because I just had to have it. It made me sleep better. But one thing that I noticed, that my spiritual gifts shut down. I no longer was able to dream. I no longer had dreams. And it wasn't until I was speaking to my mother this week and she told me about a prophetic dream that she had, it reminded me of who I am and where I come from. And in the state that I was in, I couldn't let God be the God in my life that he wants to be. So I had to purify myself. So I'm going on a 20-day fast, because he gave me for the new year in 2020, have 2020 vision. That's supposed to be the best eyesight ever according to man, but I want God's 2020 vision. You know, so though I got 4 eyes, I need 2020 vision the older that I'm getting. But I'm just so grateful just to start over again, y'all, and to know that this time is going to be the time. And I look at how my morning started. I just started off crying, and I was just so depressed, because sometimes even your hormones play a part, where I have tears and I start crying. I can't stop it. So I'm like, God, I don't know what this is, but you're going to have to deliver me from this. I want to be able to become emotional without being emotional, that it overtakes me to the point it brings me into tears where I get into a deep depression. And I started Even when I moved to Georgia and I had to do a shift, my business was booming in Miami. I had started my own dream. And then all of a sudden, because financially I saw my husband going into an area that was going to destroy us as a family, and I didn't want to see him fail, I had to make a quick phone call. And by making that quick phone call, it got him a job here in Georgia. And to see that God has not forgotten me, even in that process, even as wives, sometimes we'll put our dreams behind because we're trying to be that wife, we're trying to be that ride or die chick, that no matter what, that in the process of you being humble, in the process of you having to submit, in the process of you having not to argue back, because I used to be very argumentative and very disrespectful. I would tell everything. I would talk about the things, even in my relationship, to other people, thinking that you would get help, thinking that they would give you sound advice. All they did was just talk about me behind my back, probably made things worse. But I think the thing that I love the most about my husband, that no matter what, he always loved me genuinely. I never saw this man step out on me. He never hit me. He never cursed me. He never did any of those things that I probably deserved. So that's why I respect him, and that's why I want to see him win. Not for me. Yeah, for me too, but I'm not even going to speak that because I'm watching what I say. For me, but for us. Because I was willing to step back and take the lower road so that God can develop him. Everything that he touched, it seemed like it just was crumbling, it was falling. But at the same time, it kept building him up because people saw the God in him that he couldn't see, that I'm sure that he feels, but it just began to just hurt, knowing that you have so much potential, you have so much inside of you, and everything keeps going wrong, but everything just going right. So on this 2020 fast, the 20-day fast, I'm just grateful that I'm just going through a cleansing. That means no more smoking weed, coming home after work, because it felt good and it feels good. And I just need my mind to be free. I don't like the sluggishness, the tiredness that comes with it. Yes, it's fun and it feels nice. I'm not gonna lie. And sex is great. And my husband knows that. It got even better. But I just have to now allow God to fully manifest himself in my life to the point where I want to see him work. And so we always say, oh, I hear God, I hear God. No, I want to write this down. I want to document. I don't want to go on Facebook every day just making random posts, making things. People could say what they want. They could call me a Facebook junkie. If it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't have the husband I have. Most of the friends and the friendships that I met, I wouldn't have, because I'm not a very sociable person. I don't let a lot of people in my life. I'm not around females. I'm not on the phone. I don't do none of that. So I'm just going to start writing. I was on YouTube today and I ran across this lady named Joy. And as I began to cry in bed this morning, something said, get up. I got up. And I knew from the look on my husband's face, because he wants to do for me. And when I saw him buy them shoes the other day, they may have not been updated, but the happiness that I saw that he had to bring them home and be like, look what I bought you, baby. That's when I knew. I was like, you know what, God, when you do bless him, I know he's going to bless me. And it was just to see him get up this morning and he saw me crying, and I was just like, to see my hours go to 20 hours a week, and I don't have to really pay no bills now. He pays all the bills. I just have to pay my $520 car note. That's what happens when you have to buy here, pay here. You're stuck with that kind of bills. And so like 20 hours a week, you got tuition, you know, your daughter calling you saying, you know, she got a balance, $500 some odd dollars that she needs to pay. And that's when God came through, and from being nice to the lady over FaceTime, she turned around and put some type of thing in for my daughter, and it went from $580 to $22. So the more that I saw that there were women that were following me in the ministry that God had given me before I stopped and going my own way, and to see that the women that were coming at that time when I was just being obedient, to see their lives change right in front of me, because they decided to continue to follow God no matter what their financial situation was. They continued to pray. They continued to go for what God, and the few that came back was like, you inspired me. You know, you encouraged me during my time of need. And I just want to tell you, thank you. You inspired me to make videos, and now my business is flourishing. You inspired me to speak, and now my ministry is flourishing. I'm now touching women. So to know that and to see them, I feel like a proud mom in so many ways, even though they had their own thing going. But to know the situation and to know that when I thought they were crazy, like some people thought I was crazy, like you need to pray, you need to fast. And when they would say they hear from God, and I didn't see my situation turning around for the good. And I'm like, whatever, yeah, God is real. Okay, whatever. Knowing I had all the faith in the world, but I didn't believe because I didn't see it. I saw my life crumbling right before me. I saw my finances crumbling before me. The more I spoke about demons and warfare and this, the more attacks it seemed like was coming in different directions. And I felt like I didn't deserve it. So I gave up. And I didn't care who saw me give up because it felt that bad. And I knew I had the strength to always pick myself up, but to know that this morning, I was like, God, I'm going to allow you to pick me up. I'm tired of picking up myself. I can't do it no more. I'm tired of doing this in my own strength. I'm going to believe that I'm hearing from you this time, for sure. And I want to see the change. So I'm going to document it. I'm going to do this the right way this time. And so before I walk into this miracle, and before me and my husband walks into this miracle, even my kids, because my whole desire has always been to see God and to leave an inheritance for my kids so that they don't have to go through life worrying about just living here on earth, but they think that they can live in Him and knowing that it's going to happen. But I got up and I saw the girl on YouTube. And then I went back and I called my husband before I saw Joy. That's her name, Joy. And I called my husband because I knew that he was worrying. And he was going to try to figure it out. How can he make me happy? Even though he don't have the means and the finances to make what I need happen. But I had to step back and say, you know what, God? You know what happened yesterday on the workplace. But this must be mean that you got something more for me. You got something more for me than just standing here cutting up somebody's fruit. You got something more for me than standing here cutting somebody's fruit for $13.70 an hour. When I'm like, well, God, if I just did a dinner sale out of my house, all I need is 10 people. I can make what I'm making a week. You know, and sometimes we get discouraged because like, well, how do I start this, God? Well, I don't get government assistance no more, God. Then when my baby woke up to me this morning, and y'all know my kids never had to want for food. I'm always giving away food. And for him to go in the refrigerator and he like, Mama, we ain't got nothing to eat. And my heart broke because that has always been my thing as a mom, that my kids never starve a day in their life. I will go through and go without. I will share half of my chicken sandwich to know that he got half, I got half. And so when I did that last night, and I'm not broke, I got $6 in my pocket, you know, but we got some ramen noodles in the fridge or some leftover spaghetti, but I'm always in fear of not having. So I was like, God, I refuse to go back down this route because you delivered us from this route. And I knew that my husband was worried about it. And I called him and I was like, you know what? I love you. And he was like, I love you too. And I could feel like the weight just dropped from him because he never wants to look like a failure in my eyes. And as much as I want to be just the same for him, sometimes we can be a little bit too hard, not realizing that they are people just like us. And women, we demand so much. And I know that when this 20 days is over with and when this blessing come, I'm going to reap everything that I had to go without. And I want to see him get everything back for all the sacrificial things that he did as a husband, pawning things, taking stuff back to the store, knowing that I know he likes to dress and he couldn't get the things that he wanted, just to see what God's getting ready to do in our lives. I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited. And as I'm going through my books, this book pops out and it said Jesus. And all of my material that I had, my business plans was in that same box. And I look And the one woman I will always be so grateful for, Patricia Moore, who let me and my husband in at a time where we had nowhere to go. But if God did it for us then, he can do it for us now. And I opened the book and it was signed by Patricia Moore. And I'm like, you know what, Lord, this is a sign. Before I opened this book, I went back to her daughter-in-law, which was a good friend of mine back in the past. And I sat on my bed and I honestly said, I say, you know what, God, a lot of times we can go in life being mad at situations and feeling like, oh, it's me who was done wrong. And I'm like, sometimes we've done wrong as well. But I'm woman enough to go back. And I went and I sent this person a message because I saw pictures of my son with their son and they were so happy. And y'all would not believe that my son to this day feels like that her son is his best friend and he loves him. If I can describe love on a pure level, that I remember at the time when his father and my husband were friends, my husband was the happiest in his life because when I was jealous of that relationship because their friendship, he would always put his friendship and him before me. So I was like, hold on, but I'm the wife. And we fought for, it seemed like almost a decade about that. So I had to go through with what we went through to find the love and the respect for each other, which I'm so sure that we're there. But to see that in my child and to see the relationship duplicated and to know that loyalty that was like, no matter what, ride or die. And I went back to those moments and whether that person had believed it or not, just how much I loved them at that point when I was in that relationship. And a trip that we went on, it changed my life during that time forever. And I just wanted to encourage them because sometimes as women be like, I'm not finna text that person. I'm not finna write nothing to that person, especially if y'all done had it out. And that's where pride comes in. And that's where I had to get past myself on this morning. And I remember this prophecy that somebody told us. They were like, oh, y'all gonna bless this ministry and y'all gonna bless them $10,000. And they stood us up in front of the whole church. And I remember going back before when I went back and I was like, I had no bad blood. And I was like, my desire was to bless them. And in my mind and in my heart, I still desire to bless them because that's the type of person that God created me to be. I can't do anything about how they feel about me. But if it takes me going back 10 times, 15 times to make it right, to make any sinful thought right or anything I thought negative about them right, because at the end of the day, God's going to hold me accountable for it, not them. Yes, he's going to hold them accountable for their actions. But once I release that anger, that bitterness, or whatever the enemy will put in your mind to make you think about, this is what they're going to think about you. I don't care. Because now it's about me, my soul. And if I die tomorrow in my sins, what I'm going to be going to hell with or to the grave with. So I sat and I wrote them. And as much as they may have thought, I thought across the world or in a different state or a different city, I thought negative about them. I did not. Because I've learned throughout the years, what you wish on others is what's going to manifest in your life. And the things that I'm going through now is not because of the things of others. No, it's the things that God had to teach me because of what's about to happen. And if God would have blessed me and my husband before, we would have lost it. Because my mind frame was wrong. My mindset was wrong. I always was thinking, oh, I'm going to get this. I'm going to have this life. I'm going to have that life. Yeah, I always desired to help with ministry, but I was always helping everybody else without helping myself, without fixing those things inside, without not spending and splurging. Those desires aren't there. So my desire new is to be able to do my assignment and what God has called me to do without having any limits, any pressure. And I told God before I went to my friend girl, which back to her, she's doing so well now. When I said, I don't even know her financial situation like that, but to see God bless her to be a blessing to ministry, to be a blessing, which she didn't tell nobody, but I know she's paying big money for people to travel to different countries to preach the gospel. And she sits back so humble. And at first, the natural man would be like, that jealousy thing will come up like, well, how God doing it for them? How God doing it for her? And then when I looked and I checked myself, I say, well, why not? Because everybody deserves to be happy. And that's when I say, well, God, if you did it for her, if you did it for her marriage, if you did it for her relationship, if you did it for her ministry, for the seeds that I planted and I sowed into others, God, you're going to do it for me. You're going to do it for my husband. I stopped thinking about that woe is me. Why I feel like I can't go forth. Why I feel like my ministry can't develop. Why it seems like I can't finish my book. God, you made me a beautiful woman. Why can't I live out my dreams? I have goals too, God. But then I had to step back and say, you know what, God, I trust you. I'm going on this fast because I want to see God. I want to give him his glory rights. I want to go back and say, this is what God did for me. This is what God has done. This is what God is doing. But I had to go back and make some changes within myself. And I'm willing to step up to that challenge on this fast. I'm going to document it, even with the weight loss. This is even about weight loss, but I know that there's a benefit to it because I need to do it because health-wise, your body started to deteriorate, my calcium started leaving, all types of things. So when I say this time around, I believe God. And when I say when we go to that court date and that attorney comes back saying, Mr. Butler, because it's Sharina Butler and Scott Butler, you have your blessing. You have your such and such million, $250,000, $500,000. He said he dreamt about 7 million. Listen, I'm just documenting this date. I'm going to go back in time and look back at it and say, you know what? The first step started with me. And the first step starts in your mind. Then once you get the mindset to say, I'm going to do this, and I looked at that video on YouTube, Joy, I'm going to put it into the description because I want y'all to go back and see where I started. It just took one person. She ain't famous. She ain't got a whole bunch of likes. She got 10,000 followers. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, if God did it for her and she's encouraging me this morning, the same way how I'm online encouraging somebody, they're going to go by my video and they're going to be encouraged to go for it. They're going to be encouraged to say, you know what, if God did it for Sharina, he could do it for me. So this is just documentation. And I'm like, listen here, eyes have not seen and ears have not heard the thoughts that God has and the plans that he has for you. So he put that in my spirit to tell you that on today. Trust me, many people have fallen. Many people, pastors, preachers that didn't believe in you, that spoke against you. And now that they've fallen, this is a time for God to raise those back up. And don't look at them and look down to them, because guess what? God will send you to go encourage somebody right when they're going through that, and they may not least expect it. Because at the end of the day, real is real. Still, just keep being real. Keep being who you are. In spite of you, if you're persecuted. In spite of you, if you're not liked. In spite of people don't understand it. People don't know what you're doing. They can say you this, they can say you that. But just know that your heart, keep it pure. Keep loving people. Don't let the bitterness draw up to the point where you forget who you are and who God has created you to be, because it's just a trick from the enemy. It's just a trick from Satan. Who cares? You're in this battle. You're in this fight. You can make it. And when I tell y'all, I am excited. I'm going to write this down. I'm going to document every day of how I feel. I know it's not going to be easy, but I trust God because I need this. I need this from God. My family need this from God. Some things financially, some things spiritually has to be broken. And so when I go in, how they say, go hard in the paint. And as I'm going in, I'm asking God to go before me, because I know that this time he's going to get the glory out of my life. That this time, when everything turns around financially, that this time somebody's going to be blessed to the max, to the fullest. That person that feels like giving up, that person that saw my life, that saw the destruction, and to see God turn around for his glory. At this time, I can't even describe what God showed me on this morning. That if I just go back, write it down, listen, be obedient, strip away some people, strip away some things, the testimony that's going to come out of this I can't even explain it in words because he's about to blow my mind. And I'm ready for it this time. I'm even ready that it took everything to get me this morning to even go back. And I don't even know if they saw it, if they did see it, if they didn't see it. And when I say the blessing that I have in my heart to go back and bless those same people that they don't probably even think that it would come from me. I'm so excited because I want to see what God has for them as well. Because to know God and to know the level where I was and where I was at before I decided to walk away from him, my heart never changed. And that's one thing that a real friend, their heart will never change. Yeah, they'll be mad. Yeah, they'll have everything in the world to be like, this person did this, they did that. It ain't about that no more. It's about even helping those people to fulfill their assignment of what God has called them to do. And if God created you to be a blessing in their life, be obedient. Because it's not about you. Yeah, it may sting. You might be putting your neck out on the line and it may hurt. But what if there's a positive outcome in it? What if that same person missed you just as well, or needed you just as well, or missed those times just as well? What if? That's it. What if? Think positive. Think about the good things. I don't care how bad the situation may have been. It was nothing but the plan of the enemy to put a rock, a brick in that road, in that journey. And God knows where you could have been by now, but you allowed self, you allowed things, people, the world, the outside, church, gossip, rumors to destroy of where you could have been. But if you learn how to come together, put pride, put away just all the things that the enemy just plants in your head, the seeds that he plants, that you can really live this life, enjoy it, doing the will of God. You can really live this life with your own business. You can really live this life with the finer things in life, without tearing the next person down, without tearing your sister, your brother down, without tearing a man of God down or a woman of God down, that y'all can enjoy your ministries together. You can have your ministry, they can have their ministry, but just do and spread the gospel while you're doing it and have fun. Have fun. So I'm excited about this journey, y'all. I'm going on 32 minutes and I'm just so full of joy. I can't even describe. If I look back over everything that I've been through this point, I'm so excited to hold on to the peace of God. We lost I think they call it a matriarch, an icon in our spiritual journey as individuals on yesterday for my family. The person who spiritually birthed my grandmother, spiritually birthed my father, spiritually birthed so many leaders in Miami and Carol City, and to know that he's gone on. And I did a series where I went to go document and film and go back, and I kept saying, you gotta pass the baton. Because somebody got to stand up. We fail if everybody's dying, but nobody's willing to stand up to hold up the bloodstained banner. It got to be a different way. You may have to go a different route. But whatever route it is, just be true to it. Be real with it. So to see what God's going to do, the movies that's going to be made, the books that's going to be written, the documentary series that me and my husband going to do together. There are some lives that need help. People just, even if it's not help, so you just want good companionship, good company, just to be around good friends who just love the Lord. And you're not going to have to chase them. They're going to come to you. They're going to be around you. When you meet them, it's going to be genuine. It's going to be sincere. And there are people out there who God's going to bring in your life that are just for you. Just for you. Don't give up. Keep praying, fast, and stay focused, because on this journey, I can't wait to come back and tell y'all, because God's about to blow my mind. He's going to blow your mind. Watch 2020 vision for the year 2020. And it's going to be miraculous. This is Lady Butler. I'm signing off. I haven't said that in a very long time. Next time y'all going to see me, my lips going to be pink. Then they're going to be black from smoking. So I'm getting it together, y'all. I am. And when I say I feel so free, I feel like a weight has been lifted off of my very mind. Just to be able to glorify God in his realness, in his pureness. And to know that I just love him on today. To know that everything that I had to go through, for every tear, every pain, that is going to come back tenfold, 100-fold. If I stay faithful to him. Trust God. Bye, y'all. I love y'all.